friends. Welcome back to Heroes You Should Know, the big silly double nerd show where I talk about historical figures that I think we should know about that we don't, for a myriad of reasons, and then I turn them into D&D characters because why not? This week I am honored to have our wonderful artist Zakia with me. Hi, buddy.
Hello, buddy. How are you?
Oh, I'm just peachy keen. How are you?
I'm vibing. I'm doing good. I'm
Yeah,
excited.
me too. So basically what's gonna happen, I will tell you about this wonderful person that I've researched these last couple weeks. And then Zakia will tell me what they built for our person. And then I will tell you what I built for our person. That's about it. It's history nerd meets D&D nerd meets happy times, friendship, love. Um, so this week we are going to be doing Josephine Baker, who was an entertainer, a civil rights activist, and a spy. What?
Yes.
Yes, she's cool as hell. Um, so you've probably seen Josephine Baker at some point in your life. If you've ever looked up old pictures of vaudeville, you've almost definitely seen her. She's there's a if you've seen the woman in a skirt made of bananas, that's Josephine Baker. That's
Yeah.
her. That's like the biggest thing that's the biggest picture of her that there really is. She was also the first Black woman to star in a major film in 1927, Siren of the Tropics. But before that, she was Frida Josephine McDonald, born in St. Louis, Missouri, June 3rd in 1906. So her family was pretty poor growing up. Her mom took on the laundry. Her stepdad wasn't employed, and so by the time she was like 8, she was working as a live-in domestic. And by 12, she dropped out of school and was kind of living on the streets, doing odd jobs. Um, and her mom, because her mother and stepfather had 3 other children, so she was at that ripe old age of 12 in the early 1900s, where she
Exactly.
got a job and got out of the house.
Getting up there.
Yep. And then a year later, at 13, she was married for the first time, very briefly, to a man named Willie Wells. And that marriage began and ended in 1919. I couldn't really find any information on him, if he was also an early teenager. It's my only hope. Hopefully he was also a teen
We
who,
will keep hope alive then.
yes.
It's two
Um,
teams.
just 2 teens in love, but apparently it wasn't a happy marriage, as 2 teens in love are wont to not be.
Exactly.
And they divorced in that same year. At some point while she was living on the streets, she worked as a waitress at the old Chauffeurs Club and was dancing on street corners to get a little bit extra money. And eventually she joined the Jones Family Band, and they traveled a bunch, all over the country. Um, and during that time, well, technically during that time, at 15, she had her second husband,
Yes.
Willie Baker, in 1921. She left and divorced him in 1925 when her vaudeville troupe got booked in New York City, in the midst of the Harlem Renaissance. But she kept his last name for the rest of her career because that was kind of where she was, and that was what she was known for when her career started. So she couldn't very well be like, "I'm Josephine Baker." Never mind, I'm Josephine McDonald again. Hello. Especially in like the 1920s, when we just had newspapers and word of mouth, and so it made sense. Um, she and her mom had a pretty strange relationship. Her mom didn't want her to be an entertainer, because I read somewhere that her mom was also an entertainer, who had just
Oh,
like a rough life, a rough go of it. Which, yeah,
fair.
it's
I
not.
mean,
It's a rough time anytime, but especially as a Black woman in the 1920s, not
yeah.
great. Um, so when she was on Broadway, she was in Broadway, or sorry, when she was in New York City, she was in Broadway reviews like Shuffle Along with Adelaide Hall.
Mhm.
And in the vaudeville acts, she was usually the last of the chorus to leave the stage. And so usually they do it in like a goofy, silly way, like they pretend they forgot the choreography, or they'd like break a prop, or they'd fall down, something ridiculous, like some kind of ridiculous antics. But during the encore, they would come back and have like the correct choreography, or even the more complex choreography. So she was kind of like featured because she was like fucking funny and also real good at dancing. and other stuff, but like that was mainly what the end of the line of the chorus people was for. Um, so she was doing pretty okay in New York, and then in 1925 she went to Paris. She said she couldn't stand America anymore, which fair. um, and she was one of the first Black
Mhm.
women to move to Paris alongside Bricktop, who was a jazz singer, dancer, and also a vaudeville performer. So they were breaking into a new country, onto a new scene of entertainment. Um, and she became a burlesque dancer and toured Europe, and then returned to Paris in 1926, where she eventually became the most successful American entertainer working in France at the time, which is cool as fuck.
Wild.
Um, all notable people that she worked with. Can you work with Hemingway, Picasso, or Jean Cocteau? Maybe, maybe not. Also, I'm going to apologize right now for all of my French pronunciations. I took Spanish and Russian. French
That's
means
fine.
nothing to me. French means nothing to me. Silent letters, ways of no, 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 no. I can read Cyrillic or I can say it phonetically. Those are your choices.
That's okay. We'll look at other Black female performer spies. Russian ones next time.
Perfect. Thank you.
That'll sort of merge the. Yeah.
um, anyway, so yeah, she hooked up with not like hooked up, but like came into contact with Hemingway and Picasso. Um, and she was getting some pretty serious acclaim, especially through the 1920s and early 30s. She starred in several highly successful European films, including, as we said, Siren of the Tropics, which was the first. Uh, Zuzu.
I think Zuzu,
Okay,
but
great.
probably Juju, right?
Yeah, that
In
sounds
America,
more Prince.
they definitely said Zuzu though, so you're fine.
Yeah, and then Princess with an E at the end. Tam Tam. Princesse.
Princessy.
Princessy. Thank you. Thank you. um, so yeah, she was doing pretty well in France, and then she returned to Broadway in 1936 for a revival of the Ziegfeld Follies, but she never really received the acclaim that she did in France. Three guesses why. Um, and there was a pretty brutal New York Times review that kind of left her heartbroken, and she was like, I'm fucking done. I'm done with like this American bullshit. I'm going back to France where they like me and they care about what I do and that I'm good at things and that I'm amazing. So fuck you. So she left, and then she married French industrialist Jean. I'm saying Lion because it's spelled Lion. I'm sure I'm spelling it wrong.
Oh.
Um, and because of that, she became a French citizen in 1937. So she kind of like gave up American citizenship to become a French citizen with her husband. So cool times, great times, and then naturally World War II happens because it's history.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
September 1939, French had declared war on Germany, and so she got recruited by the Doshime Bureau. There's an X in the middle. That made me panic.
Sounds good to me.
We're gonna say that. So it's
I,
basically a French intelligence agency within the military.
yeah.
And they called her an honorable correspondent. So what that means is because she was famous and beautiful and charming, she was rubbing
Right.
shoulders with, like higher up people, German, Japanese, Italian government officials, military leaders at like parties and summits or whatever the Axis powers did. I don't entirely know. But they were like traveling around doing douchey shit, and
Yeah.
she was an entertainer, and she was beautiful and charming. So of course it would be really easy for her to hear information or like charm something out of someone or just like and especially even like I'm gonna pull it's the 1930s and 40s and she's a woman. They're not gonna think that she's smart enough or whatever enough to, you know.
Be a spy.
Yeah, exactly. Which is their own fault for being assholes. Um, so she gather all this information without suspicion and then bring it back to the Allied forces. Um, So then eventually Germany invades France, and Josephine leaves Paris and goes to the Dragenais department. So departments are like counties in France. So this is in the south of France, and she lives in this manor called the Chateau de Milandes.
Sounds great.
Great. Awesome. And so she is kind of like housing people who want to help the Free French, and the Free French is just basically the government in exile. Like the French leadership has been exiled. They're not really in charge anymore. But Charles de Gaulle, I'm saying de Gaulle, he's still trying to like lead France from a distance and from where it's been invaded essentially. So they're based and set up in London in 1940, and they're organizing resistance from a distance. So he in particular has pulled her in and was like, look, I need you to get information from the inside, and just like keep the people who are trying to keep France alive, like keep them safe. And so that's basically what she does in this giant castle thing. And this is actually the same castle or manor. It goes back and forth when they talk about it. It's the same place where she raised her kids later.
So cool. Oh my God.
Like imagine being like an 8-year-old and like, my mom helped people in here. She kept them safe from Nazis in here.
This is our spy castle. This is where I live.
Like,
that's
literally just sitting in history, just sitting there.
Ultimate lie in recess. If someone comes up to you and says, I live in a spy castle, you're like,
Yeah.
sure.
Sure, Jan.
Exactly.
So yeah, super cool. She's basically harboring resistance members in her home. And so since she's an entertainer, she has this excuse to travel, this excuse to go to different nations, and try and like sow seeds of connection. She goes to like neutral nations like Portugal and places in South America. She passes information to England. She's like all over the place, and they don't think anything of it because she's just an entertainer. She's just this woman. But she would write notes about whatever intel she found in invisible ink on her sheet music, which is so cool.
Galaxy brain.
Like deep spy shit up in there. Like, this is how I'm gonna get past them. I have invisible ink on my sheet.
Yeah. I'm like, do you have an invisible ink plug? Probably not. I want to give her the credit of making it, but that is not based on any real fact.
No, I mean, like, if we're gonna believe National Treasure, there was invisible ink like a long, long time ago. But that's believing National Treasure is any kind of authority on anything.
True. That's a primary resource.
So
You're right. You're right.
That was a choice. That was a choice I made. It's fine. It doesn't matter. I don't think she made invisible ink, but I like the idea that she did. I'm gonna say she was the first person to put invisible ink on sheet music.
And we can say that.
I have the power, and I'm gonna use it. In 1941, she's touring the French colonies in northern Africa, like Monaco, and then she'd go up through Spain to get back into everything. And she'd pin intel like inside her clothes or inside her underwear because she's an entertainer. They're not going to strip search her. And then she'd do, actual shows for British, American, French soldiers who are stationed in like the Northern African theater of things. So she was actually doing what she was supposed to do, but she was also like doing spy shit from the other side. She was also getting information from allies and taking them back to allies. She was like in a lot of danger, honestly. If you think like if they'd found that on her, it's fucking over.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like she was in enough danger, and she was like, let me just take this other job that is also like infinitely worse and cut straight to the point.
Yeah, a little bit extra.
That's
Not like extra, but like a little bit of extra danger is mostly.
We can credit her with being extra as well to take that.
I mean, a little bit, but she's cool as fuck. So after the war, she receives a buttload of accolades, like the Croix de Guerre, the Rosette de Resistance. She's made a cavalier or chevalier, I think it's cavalier, a chevalier of Légion d'honneur, cavalier of the Legion of Honor, I'm assuming,
Yes.
by Charles de Gaulle, who was the one who inducted her into this. And she's so after the war, she marries her fourth husband, Joe Bouillon.
That's what I'm thinking.
I think so too. In 1947. However, what we haven't touched on yet is that she was bisexual as fuck.
Yes, she was.
She
Yes,
had affair. Well, she'd have affairs with men and women throughout all of her marriages. I don't really care about the men right now. It's fine, whatever. The women, though, that could just be. You could just say that about me at any point, though.
That's an important part of Heroes You Should Know is
were they gay? Can we talk about the women?
Yes, we're not focused on women being married to men here.
I have. Oh man, the next person I want to talk about is French too. Shit, I gotta learn better French pronunciation. Anyway, so the notable women she's had affairs with. There's a French novelist Colette. There is a blues singer named Clara Smith. There's also Ada Smith, who is Bricktop, who she moved to Paris around the same time. So like cross the sea girlfriends, who's to say? Mm-hmm. I'm not making that assumption, but I'm making that assumption.
Yes.
And then another very cool one who is not confirmed but pretty heavily rumored is Frida Kahlo.
Yeah.
Who I will talk about at some point because we love a disabled Mexican bisexual woman so much. Mm-hmm. But we're talking about Josephine right now, who is such a badass. Okay, so here's the thing. There was so much fucking information about Josephine Baker, and this is such a bare minimum of her life and all the cool shit she did.
Yeah.
You can, if you are very interested in Josephine Baker, which you should be. I've spent so long reading about her and I want to read more. You can literally just search her name in Google and then just read for days and days and still not feel like you know everything. And it's amazing. Or, my other favorite thing, you can just go on YouTube. You can see her dance. You can watch this woman dance and sing and act and talk about like civil rights issues, like from the early 1900s. We haven't had this with our other people, but like,
yeah, that's true.
Crazy that you can just go like, here's fucking Josephine.
Look at her, go see her.
Look, like,
I mean, not go see her, but go see her.
You could go visit her grave if you want to, but like, not right now. We're in a pandemic.
That's true.
Stay home.
Outside of the paragraph, we can go.
Yes, exactly. Sorry, I got a little off track there, getting emotional about hearing her sing. Her voice is so nice. I
have notes about her voice. We're going to talk about her voice.
It's good. It's like lilting and warbling and beautiful. I love it.
Yes.
Anyway, we'll talk about her voice in a minute.
Yeah, I don't want to cut you off.
No. we can talk about her singing all the time. I have so many more notes to talk about. Anyway, so after the war, she's like bolstered and she starts like going big with like song choices and like get like feeling herself. And then also she starts covering like more serious subject matter. Especially because like the civil rights movement is moving on up and being a thing. So in 1951, she's invited back to the US to perform all over. And one way she starts kind of like using her power, which is super cool, is she wouldn't perform in audiences that were segregated.
Yes.
Yeah. So she was like, you have to have an integrated audience or I'm not coming. And like there's a specific club in Miami that was like, we will give you $10,000. She's like, nope. Fucking desegregate it. Do it now. And they fucking did. Incredible. So she travels around, like she does this national tour all over, like in the South and in Vegas and shit like that. And they do it because it's fucking Josephine Baker. They're like, yeah, okay. Yeah, we can have integrated audiences. Absolutely. She just the power. I love. Like she knows what they want from her and she can be like, yeah, okay. Do what I want first though.
I love her.
Yes.
Powerful.
Along this road, there's like a big ol' there's a big ol' stinkeroo in New York because there's a club that she oh man, I should have written this down more specifically. Um, basically, there's like a club in New York that she's gonna perform at, and it's like a restaurant and a club, and they're being more reticent about integration and like making it accessible to everyone. And Grace Kelly is there. Princess Grace Kelly is there, and and she hears them being like shit asses to her, and she's like, "Goodbye. I'm never coming back. I'm fucking Grace Kelly. You'll never see me in this establishment again." She doesn't stick to it. She goes back with her husband, the prince, like 4 years
Oh,
later, but like just once, I think. But still, like, girl, stick to your guns, god damn it.
so close.
I know. Um, but so she's been super vocal about civil rights issues in the US. She's bros with Grace Kelly now, and Grace Kelly is like sort of standing with her. Um, and then there's like a pretty big pushback in the media, print. It's just print right now. Um, that she like just about her and like it's really terribly racist and there's insinuations of her being a communist. And as a result of it, her work visa gets terminated and she gets sent back to France, which is fucking wild. Before that, though, she was one of the only women to speak at the March on Washington with Dr. King. She worked with the NAACP. Uh, Fun fact: May 20th is Josephine Baker Day. So
Hey,
on 420, no, 520, 520. I was wrong. I was wrong. Take it back.
so close, so close.
Math. On 520, celebrate Josephine Baker. Listen to some music. Go watch her do cool shit. Listen to her talk. Listen to her speech at the March on Washington. It's fucking good.
Become a
And then
spy.
yeah,
Sorry,
do it. Infiltrate.
for something, for
Confuse
someone.
people. Do
Yeah.
it. Pin information inside your underwear and wear it around. Do
Now,
it.
that's festive. I like that.
That's how you celebrate Josephine Baker. It's not. Do more. Do better things than pinning things inside your underwear. Anyway, so after the death of Dr. King, Coretta Scott King flies to Netherlands and asks Josephine Baker to become like the new face of the civil rights movement. And she considers it. She thinks about it for a few days and then ends up eventually saying no. That she doesn't want her children to lose their mother at such an early age because she had 12 of them.
Yeah.
12 little babbies. So back in the 40s, she had a bunch of miscarriages, the last of which resulted in a pretty serious infection that required a hysterectomy, but the infection still got worse. And she was at one point, here's the thing, at one point while she was touring, being a spy and like doing resistance shit, she was also septic. She had fucking sepsis. And she was still going around doing this shit. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You can't even all muscle memory at that point because you're not going to remember the show. You're not going to remember hear anything.
No. Probably fevered out of her fucking mind. And still amazing. Incredible.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so she's, she's septic, she's gathering information. Obviously she gets better. Um, so after that, she decides to adopt not one, not two, but 12 children. 2 daughters and 10 sons, which why is that the ratio? My God.
I don't
I
know.
have 2 brothers and I'm like, that's enough. That's plenty. I love my brothers, but that's plenty.
You don't want 10 more?
No, thank you.
Okay.
So she refers to this as her rainbow tribe. This is basically to prove that people from any background, religion, race, ethnicity, whatever, can still like come together, love each other, and be family, be brothers. And that's she has and she raises them all differently. She had one kid that she raised Muslim. She had one kid that she raised Roman Catholic. She had one kid that she raised, I think she raised one of them agnostic. She kind of ran the gamut of like
I mean,
languages and everything. Yeah.
if you've been to all of those places where those kids are from, might as
Why not?
well. If
Yeah.
we're still going on tour, just bring them. We'll just hit everyone's hometown.
Yeah. Just sweep in, check in.
Man.
So yeah, that was like I also how do you first of all, I don't like How do you raise 12 kids in different religions? Because they're all living in the same house. There are different holy days. There are different like practices. There are different
I think
traditions.
bring your own religion. Like, I'm gonna try to remember your holy days, but that's your responsibility.
Like
You're
here they
old
are.
enough now.
You remember this.
You're 6 years old. Remember your holy days.
Here's the notebook. Go for it.
Right. We'll put, like, a chart. Oh, you know there's a chart in the
Good old
kitchen.
chart. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
She has like a cheat sheet. He's like, okay, Timmy is Hindu. Great.
Yes, and you know there's, like, a decent staff that you
Yeah.
can distribute the lore, not lore because it's real. The
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
the facts too.
That's just wild to me. Like being a parent's a lot. And then on top of that, remembering like 12 different religions for your kids.
Next level.
Um, so later in life, unfortunately, she falls on hard times due to unpaid debts, and she loses her spy castle, unfortunately. But Grace Kelly helps her out, gives her an apartment in Monaco, because she is the princess consort of Monaco, and she can do that. She can just be like, "Here you go, this is yours. I say so because I'm the fucking princess." Sure, wild.
That's girl power.
Yeah,
Roll with it.
power of friendship. um anyway, so yeah, she's hanging out in Monaco, but she's still, performing and traveling and doing things. Um, and in that kind of time period, she's divorced her fourth husband, and she becomes involved with artist Robert Brady, but they never get married. They're just kind of like lovers on the side. Is that
Mhm.
a thing you say? I don't know. I don't know why I said lovers on the side like that. That was a weird thing to say. Is that like a
I
vernacular of anyone anywhere, or did I just say a
don't think
terrible
so,
thing?
but it is now. That's her lover on the side.
No,
You go
no,
to the courthouse and you file the paperwork.
but
"This is
never.
my lover on the side."
Oh, why do I say words sometimes? I hate
It's
it.
it's real now, like, embrace it.
It's not even on the side. She's divorced.
It's not, but on
I
the
think
side now.
I think I meant to say like just like chill, like lover, like chill lovers.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm talking myself into a deeper hole of mess of
Chill
nothing
lovers.
sense. Yeah, chill lovers. I like chill lovers better than lover on the side. Like lover on the side insinuates that it's like there's
But
someone else.
but there's a
Chill
lover in the
lover.
front.
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. The front lover. And now
Nope,
we move
nope.
past that.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Right. 1973. She is invited to perform at Carnegie Hall. So the last time she was in the US, it was like late 50s, early 60s. It was, like shit was rough. Um, and so she said she was really nervous about going due to how outspoken she was about the civil rights movement and how terrible her reception had been, right before she left. Um, and the fact that she was getting older as a performer. She was closing in on 70.
Yeah.
She's been performing for literally her entire life. That's got to wear on your body and on your mind. So she's got a lot of like nerves, but she goes. And apparently, when she went on stage, before anything happened, she didn't speak, she didn't sing, she didn't dance, she didn't do anything. She had like a standing ovation, which I think is just nice. Like everyone was just happy to see
That's so
her.
sweet,
I know.
and you're not expecting it.
Yeah. And then they
That's crying. You're crying already.
Oh, yeah. I almost cried reading it. I was like, "Oh, okay, good. She deserves all of that. Thank you."
She does.
So she keeps performing her entire life, right up until April 8th, 1975. This is her last performance, and it is a retrospective review in Paris to celebrate her being in show business or publicly being in show business for 50 years. Um, so the show is is financed by Prince Rainier and Princess Grace Kelly of Monaco and Jackie O, randomly enough.
Sure.
And sure, super cool, great. She should get all of the support she needs for this show. Hell yeah. So opening night was huge, like so huge that they had to pull out fold out chairs and like set them wherever they could. I'm sure they broke fire codes because it was the 70s. No one gave a shit.
That's true. Yep, yep.
And some of the notable people in attendance: Liza Minnelli, Diana Ross, Shirley Bassey, Sophia Loren, and Mick Jagger. They were all like, "Fuck yeah, this is Josephine Baker. We're going in. Let's go, fam." So
Wow.
she has this wonderful performance. The reviews are rave, like, they're all just enamored of her because she's incredible, and, she's what, 60, she's almost 69. Nice.
Nice.
Um, so, like, the reviews are just glowing. Unfortunately, 4 days later, she was found in her hotel room in a coma. She had a cerebral hemorrhage, and on April 12th, 1975, she passed away. Um, Her son, Jean-Claude, I think he's one of her older sons, wrote and published her biography, Josephine: The Hungry Heart, in 1993, where he talked about it, I think from his perspective, but also, like, the perspective of knowing her. He said that, like, the thing, like, she wanted, like, the acceptance, but she also, like, wanted to move stuff forward. So with, like, the Rainbow Tribe, before they lost the castle, she would, like, invite people to come, and, like, there'd be, like, an admission fee or something, and they'd,
Mhm.
like, just watch the kids play and, like, see them all interact and just, like, be good to each other, I guess. And so, like, he was like, that was
Wow.
he was kinda torn about it because he knew, like, where she was coming from, but he was also like, we were kids, and
That's a lot.
we just wanted to be kids. We didn't want, like, that responsibility on us. So it was a whole thing, but, like, the way they talk about her was just, like, very lovely and, like, good mom vibes.
Oh,
So, yeah, that's our girl.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay.
She's so cool.
Do you wanna talk about her voice now?
Yes, let's talk about her.
Okay. Okay, so I watched a documentary today because it was like, I wanna beef this up, which only made it harder, and I understand, like, limiting the notes was for our benefit because there's so many things about her, like you said, it's impossible to build,
We'd be here
including
for
everything.
hours. We would be
Ex
here for hours if I wanted to talk about everything.
Yes, and you told me that, and I was like, "Great, let me get more information to confuse myself." But I heard,
I love it.
like, the French the French academics and the British academics have tried to say everything about the way that she dances and the way that she sings, apart from saying the phrase "good vibes," which I'm glad that this year happened because
Yes.
now they can say it and it's legitimate. But they were like, literally, they were like, "She's not a technically trained singer.
Mm-mm.
She French is obviously not her first language, but even like she can sing in French and it's
Sounds good.
amazing."
Yeah.
But did she give a damn about French diction? No. Which is why I'm like, why should we? But she sang it and it sounded good and it felt good to hear. And that was
Yes.
enough. And that was it. It was like, you could never, like, so much. I feels like that feels like such a classic era, which is such a 2021 perspective. But
Right.
for people to really be like, it doesn't really matter if she sings the right words
Yeah.
or if we can even understand her. I just
Right.
want to hear her sing.
Yeah. And, like,
Yeah.
if we're feeling that from, like, secondhand, third-hand recordings, more than almost 100 years later,
Yes.
how did that have to feel like sitting in her presence and hearing her, like, it was, I don't even, like, have the right words for it because it's not, like you said, it's not technically
She had this,
correct.
it's like, yeah.
It
It was
just, like,
this like little,
floats.
yeah, it's this like little like baby vibrato thing that's
Yeah.
like wind chimes. I don't know what it is. It's
Wind
beautiful.
chimes. Yeah, that's a good word for it. It's like floaty wind chimes
Yes.
that are just, like, it's, like, lilting, but, like, also, like, commanding a little bit. I don't.
It's strong. Like yeah, you don't get lost, but
Yeah.
it's yeah, she's incredible.
Yeah, it's not a style I've heard anywhere else.
Exactly.
It's very particular, and hearing her speak, it makes sense that she sounds like that when she sings,
Yeah.
which is super
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. But also her dancing's kind of like that too. Like there was I can't remember her name, but it was a woman who writes about dancing,
Mm,
about how important like classical dance was at that point and how she again didn't give a damn.
mm.
Um and like there was this emphasis on like posture and height and length. And every time she danced, I mean, it was also in style for like the kind of dancing. It was during the Harlem Renaissance. So a
Right.
lot of melanated people were dancing like this. But she was dancing like this in white spaces and getting paid and living and winning.
Yes.
Like the whole point, every move she did was like, I see your classical dancing and it's not hitting for me. That's not
Right.
it. That's not what I want tonight for all of us.
Yeah.
So good. So
Like,
playful.
I don't wanna be like, it's just a vibe, just to be like, "It's a vibe," but it kind of is. It's like, it's not even like,
Yeah.
there's not a good enough descriptor for it. It just it's like the embodiment of what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. You know, I know what it is when I see it and I've seen it and that's what it is.
Yeah, like, there's that's it. J Go
Exactly.
People that are watching this, please go watch her do things.
Yeah.
It's like a warm feeling,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's so cool. I just get, like, caught up in that same idea of what must that have been like to just, like, watch this in real time, because
Yeah.
she just just
She
just
nailed it.
yeah, she nailed it, that's it. I wanna so, would you like to give us your Josephine Baker
Oh,
build?
yes. Okay. I gave myself the absurd challenge of no bards.
I started there, and then I was like, "No, but I want a bard, I want a bard."
It's really hard. Light regrets, but
Nah, no regrets.
here we go. So, of course, she's a human. And I made her a monk, the way of the drunken master, but
Yes.
replace drunken with dancing, but
Yeah,
also drunken could still work. And
yeah,
I to level 6, and I made her a rogue mastermind to level 3.
amazing.
And I just gave her a point in sorcerer, just one level in sorcerer because I want her to have magic. She needs
Yeah,
to have magic.
she does.
Um, yeah, so I think Josephine Baker succeeds without weapons. She doesn't need weapons.
Mhm.
I don't think she works up a sweat unless she's on stage or at a party and it's performing.
Right.
That being said, I did give her a little pistol
Oh, I love that.
named Pony after the position in the chorus line that she was in because
Yes.
it's like the last girl in the line. It's a
Mhm.
last resort. She has Pony if she needs it. But it does do 1d10 piercing damage. So Pony's there with her. I think her fighting style, it looks exactly like how she dances, or it's incredibly subtle. Like she's literally entertaining at a party and you realize that you've been shot and you don't know how that
Yeah,
happened,
just,
but
like,
she's
enthralled by her, and then you're
yes,
like, "Oh, fuck."
yeah, and then like the room is spinning and you're gone. That's her.
Yes.
Um, oh, well, I have the
Uh,
actual
what did you what did her stats end up like?
okay. Yes, that was
'Cause that's wild.
tricky.
Because that's what. Yeah, I was gonna say that's gotta be wild.
So from the top, we're gonna of course give her charisma. Um, with a 17.
Mhm.
We're gonna have 14 for dex,
Yep.
14 for wisdom,
Nice.
13 for strength. She doesn't need to be strong, but she can certainly like because she can dance her ass off. That force is incredible.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna give her 10 intelligence. I don't know. I know she's super fucking smart. It's high. And Constitution 9. That's
Mhm.
technically average Constitution, but that's not super vital. Other
Yeah.
than maybe she needs to hold her liquor. But I think a 9 she'll be all right.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Charisma is 18 because I gave her the actor feat.
Yeah, nice.
Yes. Um, let's see. What else is there?
What about, what are her big, like, skill proficiencies? What are her, like, her ones that are
Yes. Yes. I have like 4 windows. Sorry, one
Oh,
second.
you're good, you're good.
Okay. Um, she has like insane. I broke D&D Beyond when I was making this character sheet.
Oh,
It doesn't this is not
favorite thing.
it's not a smart character to play, but it's great.
No, yeah, that's
So
like
I
we're not
her
making smart characters here, we're making historically accurate characters here.
exactly. Her highest skills are performance and acrobatics,
Yes.
with a +11 to performance and a +10 to acrobatics.
Yeah.
insane. But I wanted to give her obviously those two.
Mhm.
Um, high insight, high deception, high sleight of hand, constantly thinking about fitting notes in your underwear and what checks have to be made for that when
Right.
you're going through the airport. Um, she has a pretty decent investigation.
Mhm.
Um, what else is there?
Yeah, 'cause
Y-
that those levels in Rogue have to give her some shit, like some good shit.
That's honestly, I picked Mastermind in Rogue only for like, okay, so when you choose this archetype at third level, so you gain, nope, that's it. I mean, she does have proficiency with a disguise kit and a forgery kit,
Mhm.
but she really only always shows up as herself. I don't think she has to pretend to be other people. Like,
Right.
that's how she gets in.
Yeah.
Um, but she also gets a help action as a mastermind,
Oh,
which is helpful.
yes.
Um, I don't know, like a lot of these, of course, because D&D is like a combat-based game, a lot of these make sense if there's someone else she's fighting with. But there was a remark about how most of her career she was not necessarily literally alone, but she really only had to worry about defending herself.
Yeah.
Like all of her partners were really like because she wanted to have fun with them, but it wasn't like she was responsible
She
for
didn't
them. They
need
could
them,
hold their
yeah.
own. Yeah. So that, but I,
You good?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What else about Rogue? Yeah, no, I think that's it because it's only level 3.
Right, yeah.
Um,
You said you gave her the actor feat. Did you just do ASI for her other one, or did you or no, I guess you couldn't have done another ASI because she's 3 and 1.
yeah, well, did I? No. Oh, no. Okay, yes, so she does have an ability score improvement because of
Okay.
her monk score, and I
Right,
gave
right,
it
right.
to Dex and Charisma
Makes sense.
because I want them to be in the sky.
Hell yeah.
Um, I gave oh, yeah, she's an aberrant mind sorcerer. Again, I chucked it her way because she deserves
Yes.
magic. But also, oh yes, that's right. Okay, so there was a line in the documentary I watched about how important it was that she. We're gonna get again. It's gonna get real nerdy history here
Do it,
again.
do it, do it. That's what we're here
But that she one of the things that made her so freaking successful was that she embodied this like French man's ideal of the black woman because colonialism
Yes.
that's happening. And she's this incredibly beautiful woman, but she's also like literate in European culture, can dance her ass off, is very polite, except when she doesn't want to be. So it was like this fantasy that she was embodying,
Right.
which she could not have done on accident. Like she was all of her
She
decisions.
Oh, yeah.
So like if we're gonna give her a sorcerer's origin, it's gonna be about like psionic shit, I
Yeah.
think, because double consciousness is real. And this is the time where it's being written about. So have it in mind.
No, that
Um,
totally makes sense because she like, that was an accident. Like, she was fully aware of, like, what they were gonna think of her and what they were gonna like, what box they were gonna put her in or whatever, and she was like, "Okay, that's fine, but I'm gonna use it against you." Like, she
exactly.
like, the mentality that had to come from, like, "Okay, I know that, like, I know where this is going. I now know how to, like, divert them," which is
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Even though, like, I mean, because people kind of get at her for doing stereotypical shit, but also, again, 1920s.
yeah. So,
Didn't
like
really have a choice.
yeah, like, she has to, like, find where her like,
Yeah.
where she can, like, take those, like, turns away from it, you know?
Yes. And even when she did do it, she did it laughing.
Yeah.
Like, she was making fun of it the whole time, which is like, that's what I was like, she's playing 4D chess. So we're going to
Yes.
give her that aberrant mind. Yeah. Oh, but with that comes a couple of spells. I mean, some of them are just like practical dancing lights, minor illusion,
Right.
message, and mending. That's just some costumes. That's
Yeah,
just
exactly.
costumes.
That was why I gave her mending too.
Yes. And then I gave her absorb elements and Featherfall, which was honestly just a play on words, because one of the performances that essentially launched her into fame in France was the one where she appeared on stage with nothing but a pink feather. And that was the first time she'd ever
What?
done that.
Yes.
And everyone, literally, the world lost their shit. Like, France was like, hell yeah. And the United States was like,
Oh,
it
Drax.
was so good. So good. The pink feather's gonna come back because I gave her 2 magical items.
Yes.
Oh, okay, before we get to magical items, I gave her, of course, the entertainer background, so we
Mhm.
get that acrobatics and performance proficiency.
Yes.
Also, she has favor and an admirer, which is literally everyone but it's Grace Kelly.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah. But, I gave her an amulet of proof against detection and location because
Oh,
mind your business.
yes.
And, I gave her essentially, it's the, like, bracers of defense, but it's a pink feather of defense, and it gives her +2 to AC while she's wearing
Hell
no armor and no shield, and then she had no clothes, so of course it's gonna work.
that's
Yeah.
that's such a good way to frame it. I love it so much.
Yeah, so there's little bits into that, but that's essentially my build.
Oh, I love it. Oh, that's
She's
so good, dude. The pink feather protect.
I
Yes.
I'm gonna use that for me private, like, in my
Yes.
games.
Yes.
But okay, go ahead, where are you at?
Okay. All right. We had a similar idea with sorcery and psionic shit. Psionic sorcery,
Yeah,
psionic soul.
yeah.
And then I caved and gave bard. I was like I at one point I had 15 tabs open on my computer that were just different subclasses.
Dude,
And I
yes!
was like, I don't know, I don't fucking know. I had like a warlock one, I had a paladin, I had like 4 for paladin, I had a few for I think I had a cleric one in there, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, no, 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 no." And then I was like, but bard works." So I gave her, 6 in psionic soul and
Mhm,
4 in bard, glamour.
mhm. Yes.
Um, so obviously she also has entertainer background. Her charisma is 18, wisdom's 15, intelligence is 13. I gave her constitution 11, um, just because like she fought off sepsis, man. She
That's
fought off
true.
sepsis and kept being a fucking spy. Like that takes a little extra.
Yeah, yeah.
Dexterity's 14, and then I dumped strength. I don't. I
I
had to
mean,
dump one of them, and
if you're yeah, she's alright, she'll be alright.
it was between con and strength, and the only reason I didn't dump con was because she
Sepsis?
survived sepsis.
Was because
Yeah,
sepsis.
no, you're good. You're fine. Um, so I also gave her inspiring leader.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
yeah, because that I just it yes, it fits. Um, so inspiring leader so she can give people like extra temporary hit points. Um, and then because of bard, she gets expertise, and so
Mhm.
she can double the proficiency on 2 of her skills. So I doubled performance and persuasion, so they are at +12. Stupid.
Perfect. She'll be
Bad
fine.
character. And then her acrobatics is +6, her deception is +8, and her insights +6 as well.
Mhm.
Um, so, she has proficiency with the disguise kit. I kinda took that as, like, she could disguise, like, where her information was, or, like, even just disguise her as a different version of herself.
Yes.
Um, I gave her Common and Elvish because Elvish seems like a snooty language.
Correct.
And then so the entertainer background said I could have an instrument, but I decided instead of that, I was going to give her proficiency with an alchemist kit because spy shit. Like, you kinda
Because
have to know how to, like, deal with invisible you have to be able to you should be able to make invisible ink, then you have to be able to
yes.
unvisible the invisible ink.
Mhm.
So,
That I love that. I love that.
yeah. And then her arcane for striking. Her arcane focus, is her sheet music,
Yes.
because that's where all the secrets are kept. Because she's a sorcerer, she gets meta magic, so I gave her twinned spell and subtle spell because
Mhm.
spy shit. Um, she gets weapons, but like you said, she doesn't need physical weapons. But I gave her a club and then she got daggers. But I gave her the club because I like the idea of her having how like in old vaudeville they'd have like a cane.
Yes.
It's a cane that like when you swing it
Yes.
like gets into like club shape and then like shrinks back.
Hell yeah. I would yes. Yes.
Um,
Such a good visual. Yeah.
this is all there's a lot of editorializing in here, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Um, so with the psionic soul, she gets psionic talent,
Mhm.
which means she can roll, I'm still trying to figure this one out. I'm like she has this like wellspring of psionic energy and power within herself, that kind of ebbs and flows when she channels it in various ways, so she can make a psionic discovery, which is to like if she this is like in game. If she wants to like sit and meditate for 10 minutes, she can cast a sorcerer spell that she doesn't necessarily know, but like is if it's a divination or an enchantment spell, she can just cast it, which could be very useful.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes. Imagine
like
like
being
this
able to like, move on the fly,
yeah, the minutes before she goes on stage, she like, "Ooh, yes."
like reorganize. She's like, okay, I don't need this spell today, but I can't get rid of it, so I'm just gonna think about this other one, and then I can do it.
Exactly.
um Oh, psychic sorcery, which works for her so well. So she uses this this like psionic die, and when she uses it, the spell requires no verbal components, and if you roll the level of the spell or higher on your psionic die, it doesn't need somatic or material components. So she could literally just like exude it.
Fair. Fair.
Which totally, and it totally works for, like, her style of, like, dancing and singing and everything. It just, like, it kind
Happens.
of flows. Yeah, it just happens because it's
Mhm.
her. Um, and then telepathic speech, which would be very useful if you are a spy trying to get
Yes.
information or give information. Um, she also gets psychic strike, which means she can, channel her energy into, like, if she uses a sorcery spell, um, she can roll a psionic talent die
Mhm.
and also deal, psychic sorry, deal that much psychic damage to that person on top of whatever damage she's already dealt.
Powerful.
So, super cool, super powerful. And then for College of Glamour, she didn't get much because it's only 4th level.
Mhm.
Uh, so she can, so, like, there's Mantle of Inspiration, which basically says that she can give herself this, like, incredible appearance, which now I think should tie back to the pink feather because hell yes. Um, and so creatures she can pick any number of creatures that can see her within 60 feet, up to the number equal to the charisma modifier. They get 5 temporary hit points, and they can immediately use a reaction to move, like, they're like, to move somewhere else. So she's,
Yeah,
like, kind of inspiring them with her existence,
that is
which is
fair.
amazing. And
Yeah.
then she also has an enthralling performance, which
Mhm.
means that it's the same like, the same thing, the same number of people, they have to roll on a wisdom saving throw, or they have to be charmed by her. And while they're charmed, they idolize her, they speak glowingly of you to anyone in the room, hinders anyone who opposes you, avoiding violence unless it's, already inclined to fight on your behalf, and it lasts for an hour.
Perfect.
Like, it's just perfect for spy shit, and, like, other stuff too, but, like,
Yeah.
spy shit in particular. Um, yeah, so those are her, like, really cool traits that she gets from her classes. Obviously, she gets Jack of all trades, Song of Rest, all that good stuff. Meta
Yes.
magic, sorcery points, all of that hullabaloo. Um, so she's got a fuck ton of cantrips, and she knows 7 bard spells and 7 sorcerer spells because that's what happens when you double class magic. What's up?
Yes. Yes, yes,
Um,
yes.
the usual, like you said, dancing lights, friends, message,
Mhm.
mending. I gave her mage hand so that
Yeah.
easy to pass information, easy to get information. Minor illusion, I thought would be cool to like have just like as I mean, like, can you imagine like a vaudeville dancer that has minor illusion and you can
Yes.
just like create whatever you want? Prestidigitation, all that good stuff. Uh, I gave her heroism, Tasha's hideous laughter, charm person, comprehend languages, I wanted to give her a little bit of like power if she needed it, so I gave her Witch Bolt because I think Witch Bolt's
Mhm.
like a really good particular fuck you.
Yes.
Um, Chaos Bolt because I like chaos. Um, and then also Shield because she's real. She has no armor in mine. She's real squishy, and I want to keep her
Yeah,
safe.
exactly.
Also Enthrall, Skywrite, Calm Emotions, Hold Person, and then I took Mind Spike, Crowd of Madness, and Phantasmal Force just because it fits really well with like the psionic stuff. Um, yeah, and then the last one I took was Thunderstep because can
Mhm.
you imagine having a dance that ends in a fucking Thunderstep?
Be so good.
Right?
So good. Especially because some of those shows have, like 20 girls on stage.
Right.
Yeah.
And then to be the
Yeah.
pony and then Thunderstep your way off.
And it doesn't even matter if it's while she's doing the, she's a bad dancer act or she
Mhm.
has her life together. Either one to have a Thunderstep. Powerful.
Like, what a closer.
Yes. Oh,
Like, shatter all the light bulbs and the fixtures. The lighting people are, like, pissed, but they don't care because it was so cool.
right. Because everyone had to make a wisdom saving throw earlier.
Yeah, they were like, "Oh, wow, we can replace the lights. This is amazing." As they should, because ending a show on a Thunderstep is a mood, and I want it. This makes me wanna play a bard, and I've never wanted to play a bard.
That's incredible. Way to go, Josephine.
I know.
Miss Baker.
High charisma scares me. Um, I had a few ideas of different, what we call it, magical items she should get.
Mhm.
Obviously, like pearls of power, spell slot rings, the obvious, just
Yeah.
because she deserves all the spell slots and all the power because she should have it.
Yes.
Her wand. I was also thinking that the club vaudeville cane could also double as like a wand as an arcane focus if we didn't like the idea of the sheet music. Double it up there. A cloak of many fashions I thought would be super useful for just costuming.
Yes.
But also to
Yes.
like change like her appearance around specific people or like, she had her military uniform, but she also had like her lovely like costumes for shows. It'd just be nice if they were all in one place.
It
um
would.
the perfume of bewitching because hella
Mhm.
charisma. And then a wand of smiles and because wand of smiles is fun. And then a wand of conducting, which I thought would be cool if she could doesn't even need a band. She doesn't need anyone. She's just like, I'm here. Here's this fucking music, and I'm singing to it.
That's so good to just
Just like
randomly start conducting
a
and should
literal one woman show. Yeah.
yeah, that's brilliant.
So lots of fun things, like very support, but also like doesn't need anyone.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and yeah, that's oh yeah, she gets inspiration. It's a D6, but that's
Yes.
the last part stuff. Um, but that's about it for my build on her. I
So good.
I was I hemmed and hawed about her build so long.
She was almost a swashbuckler rogue. That's how weird we were getting.
No, I love I want it.
'Cause they like fighting and dexterity and agility. It was
Yeah.
like pirate Josephine Baker, but
I
we're
mean,
here.
you could you could you could say that spies are land pirates.
We're gonna say it now.
Could say
Spies
it.
are land pirates.
Should you say it? Maybe not. I already did though. So we're here.
That's a fact. That's correct. Yes.
Oh man, thank you so much for joining me today, my friend. This was so fun.
See,
Um,
amazing.
I'm gonna extend to you the same offer I've extended to Eli and Caleb. If you ever have a person that you like are super passionate about talking about, please let me know. We can switch places. You can run this nerdy show for an episode. I would love to hear anyone you want to talk about if you ever come up with anyone.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to like plug or talk about or mention or anything like that? personally because you're the coolest, and Zakiya makes all of our art. If you didn't know, you should know by now because I don't shut up about it. Um,
I can't think of anything other than yeah, I mean, obviously, Ashoka's coming out
yes, yes.
Friday,
So soon. Oh, I'm so
which is a
excited.
wild sentence to say.
Right?
Um, oh, I'm gonna be on a charity stream on Saturday.
Yes!
Uh,
What is it?
so
Tell us what it is.
it's uh boy, it's Nat 20 Productions. They're doing they play Pathfinder 2e,
Oh, nice.
wonderful people. But they are running a Women's Day charity one shot
Yeah.
in noon on Saturday. Just check them out. They're posting about
Yes.
it, and all the information is accurate, way more accurate than me right now. But that's it.
Yes, for sure, check out Zakiya and our friends at Natural is it Nat 20? It's not Natural 20. It's the automatic, like, Natural 20. No,
Yes.
our friends at Nat 20,
Yes.
their charity stream, that's gonna be super exciting. Check out Ashoka, check out,
Yes.
Zakiya's art, because it's fucking good, and I lose my mind every time you show me new art, and I cry a lot. Um, yeah, Aaron's gonna be playing video games again on Monday.
That's right.
Check that out. Caleb is taking over where I left off on Ironsworn. Um,
Mhm.
yeah,
Those are all the things.
those are all the things. Thank you guys so much for joining us for this double nerdy adventure once again. I'll be back in a couple weeks with another person. I have a few in mind. But if you want to drop suggestions in chat of people you'd like to see covered, please do, and I'll add them to the ever growing list. Um, thanks so much. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.